This summer, say I do.
I am marrying a stranger.
Like never before.
Am I crazy?
It's a whole new Married at First Sight on Peacock.
Thank God I woke up in love.
With new experts.
My name is Dr. Lisa.
My name is Paul Brunson.
More couples.
This could be the start of a very successful marriage.
And more surprises.
Or maybe not.
Everything is just not enough.
You're a little bit crazy.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I want my fairy tale ending.
Married at First Sight, now streaming. New episodes Thursdays, only on Peacock.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends, where we're going to take a deep dive into the lore of the Star Wars universe.
Hello, and welcome to the Holocron Histories podcast, where we talk about the lore of Star Wars in the Legends versus Canon. So looking at what came before the Disney purchase and what Disney has adapted, changed, or gotten rid of, and talking about the differences there. I am one of your hosts, Austin, otherwise known as Teacup.
And I'm your other host, Ben of Temeria.
All right, well, we're still talking about starfighters, starships, starfighters, star cruisers, whatever you want to call it. Last week we talked about the A-Wing, and this week we're going back in time to before the Battle of Yavin, well before the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah,
to talk about another starfighter.
Both mine and Austin's favorites from the Clone Wars, the ARC-170, which, if you don't know what that is in just like the name alone, it is the ship that all the clones fly, that specific starfighter. You're muted.
There's another one that they fly in the original Clone Wars, and it's a little bit in the Dave Filoni Clone Wars, but it's the little like triangle one. It's got a part that comes down, and then it's got two wings on the side. You know
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember what the name of that ship is on the top of my head, though.
No, but other than that, yeah, the ARC-170 was probably what I associate most with clone starfighters. Though now the BTLB Y-wing is also getting associated with that.
That's true.
The Clone Wars. But
that is true. The precursor to the Y-wing we see in the original. They're just, modified slightly. They still kept the same design, roughly. Just modified a little bit, as much as they could. But yeah, let's dig right into it with Legends. Obviously, we always start with. So, in the Clone Wars, originally it was introduced and adopted by the Republic shortly after the Clone Wars. The ARCs were used fairly exclusively during the late Clone Wars. During the Battle of Malastare, a squadron of the ARC fighters escorted a squadron of BTLB Y-wings, carrying a electro-proton bomb, provided cover against the AATs by strafing enemy ground formations. So as we were just discussing, the BTLB Y-wings, they are both around in the same time. They were also used in the defense of Kamino and later in the rescue mission of Lola Sayu. Shortly after the Battle of Coruscant, a squadron of ARCs provided cover for Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker on Tyth, but were mostly destroyed, which is very sad.
For those of you who don't know, the Battle of Malastare is the planet that, what's his name? Sebulba, his species is from Malastare. The Durgs, that's what they're called. And that is the arc with the Zillo Beast, if you remember. From the
okay,
yeah. So, one of my favorite episodes.
And then during the Battle of Coruscant, Clone Fight Squad 7, operating with ARC-170s, covered for Kenobi and Skywalker as they made their way to the Invisible Hand. Although Squad 7 suffered many casualties, they allowed the 2 Jedi to successfully board the ship to rescue Supreme Chancellor Palpatine. A large number of ARC-170s were destroyed by droid tri-fighters in the battle. In which, the Battle of Coruscant, meaning the very beginning of Episode 3. That is the Battle of Coruscant right there. Where Anakin cuts off Dooku's head and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now we get to the Galactic Empire. So they didn't really have a whole lot of history in the Clone Wars since they were introduced in the late Clone Wars. So during the Galactic Empire era, later Alpha Palpatine issued Order 66, ARC-170s flying over the skies of Kolto Nemodia under the command of Clone Captain Jag turned on the Jedi Master Plo Koon. The ARC-170 squadron fired upon his Delta 7 Starfighter, destroying the fighter's engines. So the ship Plo Koon blew up. So, yay.
Plo Koon deserved better.
He did. He deserved so much better. Now, granted, we don't really get much character development for his character until, the Dave Filoni's Clone Wars. Sadly.
Right, but, I was hoping we'd get a little more kind of the process since Commander Wolf was in Rebels.
Mm-hmm. True.
But we didn't get more about the Wolf Pack, but I don't want to think about the Wolf Pack having to betray Plo Koon at all. I don't want to think about it at all.
It's weird though too, because Wolf got his inhibitor chip removed. Was that before or after? I'm confused about that. But that's a discussion for another time. Plo Koon could not regain control of the ship and plunged to his death as he and what remained of the forward part of the fighter crashed into a building on one of Kolto Nemodia's bridge cities. And by the way, if you want to go see Kolto Nemodia, you can actually go back to the original Battlefront 2 and actually play that map. Or is it Battlefront 1? It's 1 or 2 that you can actually play on that map. I want to say it's 2.
It's not 2.
It's not 2?
Because 2's maps include, because I'm dealing with, I got it to run on my laptop, so I've been playing Battlefront 2. I think you're thinking of Maigito.
Is that the bridge city that's on the map? That has a map?
Yes, that's the one where you play as. That's where
I'm thinking of.
Dies. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. It's similar. So several years after the declaration of what?
I believe Kolto Nemodia is the home of the Nemoidians, or the Trade Federation people.
Yes? Question mark? I'm pretty sure. Yes, it is the home planet of the Nemoidians. Yep. So the Trade Federation. So several years after the declaration of the new order, the ARC-170s of Green Squadron were deployed from a Star Destroyer. They took part in the second portion of the Shrouded Offensive at Ostar. They strafed the city shield, and they were ambushed by followers of the rogue clone trooper Kadak and V-19 Torrent starfighters. So even when the Empire is founded, they are still using clones in the early formations of the Empire, since they have to do a lot of recruiting to get the stormtroopers. The attackers were fought off but quickly disappeared. Vader led the squadron back to cover the Star Destroyer after Commander Hawk Malzum disabled the shield. The ARC-170s attacked the city, leaving it in ruins. And then during the Galactic Civil War, ARC-170s could be found in both Imperial and Rebel fleets, where they were considered elite crafts. Which does make sense because specifically for the Rebels, at least, it makes sense the ARC-170s are like classified as elite crafts. It's because the X-Wings and the Y-Wings were mostly like refitted from older ships. And then, as with all craft commissions by the new Empire, ARC-170s were henceforth given the standard Imperial gray color scheme, doing away with the variety of colorful markings and military vessels bore to identify the squadron affiliations with during the Clone Wars. Incom would go to produce the T-65 X-Wing Starfighter, the successor to the ARC-170s. So, the ARC-170s eventually evolved into what we get as the X-Wings, which makes sense. If you see the wing pattern, it just has an extra wing right in the middle of the two. If you're watching this live, it's like, here's the V, and then there's like a single wing in between the V.
And it only has 2 blasters instead of the quad.
True, yes.
Which I always wondered, like, how... So when you see them fire in the show and in the games, they, like, fire in a V formation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to where they both hit the singular point. But there's no, like, bend in the rifles. Like, the rifling of the blaster goes straight. So how does it know to the Force? Like,
the Force or something with the crystals, maybe? Who knows? One old ARC-170 was found in an old secret hangar of the Rebel Alliance on the planet Dathomir. Interesting. The Wookiees, Imara and Pazapur, Wookiee names are hard, took this ARC-170 after they had been freed from the Imperial prison facility and managed to punch a hole through Imperial blockade around the planet. So, my question out of that is, why does the Rebels have a secret hangar base on Dathomir, of all planets?
So this is actually an interesting kind of path in Legends. So Dathomir, after Grievous stores and wipes out Night Sisters, the Dathomirians, the Iridonians that are on Dathomir, they start to develop an actual society that's not based around the witchcraft of the Night Sisters. And by the time of the New Republic, they are like fully members of the Republic and are, or maybe not, but it's more like, instead of like, oh, here's this crazy planet with all these monsters that can kill you and there's no society really, like there's no like civilization, whatever you want to call it. There is society and civilization, but it's not the standard across the galaxy, I guess.
That makes sense.
And so Dathomir in Legends is more, they start to develop some type of society beyond just the Night Sisters. And so my guess is that Dathomir probably played some kind of role in the rebellion.
Got it. Okay. That makes a little more sense. And then Queen Calantha of Naboo also owned several ARC-170s. Her personal ship technicians had rehauled a few of them and turned them into formidable fighters again. She gave one to an adventurer as a token of appreciation for helping the Wookiees. Imara and Pazapir escaped from captivity. So, the Queen after Padme. Well, 2 queens after Padme, because Padme was only, she went to center after Queen.
Right. I don't know. I can't remember who actually succeeds Padme, but this is all Legends, so none of it's canon anyway.
True. Then we go into the military role of the ARC-170s. The ARC-170 was typically deployed from Venator-class Star Destroyers and were often sent on dangerous scout missions and raids deep into enemy territory. To allow the ARC-170 to perform these missions, the fighter was equipped with a Class 1.5 hyperdrive, and its nose was filled with powerful sensors, scanners, and jammers. And the ARC-170 carried enough consumables for 5 days of operation. However, the supplies and additional equipment had a price, and the ARC-170 was quite slow. Durable armor and shielding, as well as 2 tail guns, helped the ARC-170 survive when surrounded by swarms of smaller, faster enemy fighters, although it remained vulnerable to enemy anti-fighter guns. So they had enough to where they could, like, hold off their own against vulture droids or the droid tri-fighters and such like that.
Yeah, I believe that there is enough room in the cockpits for at least 2, if not 3, pilots in the ARC-170s.
I want to say at least 2 in most cases.
Right, because I would always like to describe the ARC-170s as if the Snowspeeder and X-Wing had a baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, but
I can totally see that.
But it's interesting that they're slow, because the X-Wings are known to be fast.
True. Yeah, I think it's because of how much, like, the 5 days. It's saying like they have 5 days of rations and consumables and stuff like that. That's the reason why they're slowed down. Is because of the equipment they hold. Because the X-Wing doesn't really hold any extra stuff besides the pilot.
I mean, no, that's not true, because Luke has all that supplies that he pulls out.
Good point. True.
But it also is funny to me because the one ship that they try to, like, make fast and, like, light and limit stuff in there is the worst ship in the Rebel fleet.
Yeah. And if we don't know what we're talking about, go to the last episode. The A-Wing. You understand why we don't like the A-Wing too much. It may be fast, but it ain't that great. But with the weaponry of the ARC-170, it possessed a powerful weaponry. It carried 6 proton torpedoes, and its wingtip-mounted medium laser cannons were unusually large for a starfighter. The ARC-170s were often used as a heavy hitter in strike forces, escorted by V-Wings and ETA-2s. ARC-170s could carry concussive missiles for anti-fighter work. So they're mainly used for, like, strikes. Mainly. Or scouting. And then the ARC-170 was manned by a crew of 3 clone operators, a pilot, a forward gunner who operated the wingtip-mounted lasers, and a tail gunner who operated the rear-mounted cannons. The fighter also carried an astromech droid to perform onboard repairs and navigation. It was also possible for the pilot to operate the wingtip laser cannons if the co-pilot wasn't available. So yes, 3. And an astromech, so technically 4. Because you can't miss the astromech. The astromech's always important.
I guess they're not really worried about, the number of clones that they're losing in a fighter, because they're just popping them out.
Oh yeah, their clones are being produced in the thousands, if not tens of thousands, every day.
Right. Whereas you can tell, I mean, really, the Y-Wing is the only Rebel fighter that can hold more than 1 pilot.
True.
Which I just think is interesting, that because you see that the Empire fighters are extendable because
they recruit anybody off the street.
More.
Yep.
But the Rebels are more cautious. They're not putting more than 1 pilot in a ship,
mm-hmm.
so that they don't lose more if those ships die.
And then customization. During the Clone Wars, it was common for elite pilots to customize their vessels with elaborate designs, such as the elite Razor Squadron. And the ARC-170 that shot down Plo Koon's Delta 7 Aerospit-class light interceptor during Order 66 was knitted out to display information on its cockpit display using an unidentified script. But that is what we have in the legends of the ARC-170.
All right, this will probably be a good time for the break.
Yeah, let's do that.
If you've ever blasted synth beats from your boombox or burned CDs for your besties, this one's for you. As people get older, much like their music tastes, their health needs change. AG1 is the simple daily health drink designed to deliver over 75 essential daily nutrients and pre- and probiotics to support energy, digestion, and mood, so you can make the most out of every decade and dance break. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
All right. Well, welcome to the middle of the show where we talk about everything to do with the podcast that doesn't have to do with the lore of Star Wars. And so this is now that I thank our patrons. Thank you so much for all of your support. You can join us and support us on Patreon. Various tiers you can sign up, all the way from just getting ad-free episodes to coming on the show with us at our Sith Lord and Jedi Master tier. You can sign up and come with us for a patron chat at the end of the month, which will be in 2 weeks from today. Right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. And so, yeah, you can support us there. Another great way to support us is to leave us reviews or ratings on Apple and Spotify. If you leave us a review with words, a 5-star review with words, we will read it out on a future episode of the show. We do not have a review to read today, unless I missed one.
We do not at the moment.
No. Yes, so we do not have a review to read today, but that's a great way to support us. You can also come hang out with us on Discord, on the Cups Podcasting and More Discord server, or the Robots Radio Discord server. You can come hang out, talk with us, talk about Star Wars, talk about anything and everything. It's a good time. You can find those links somewhere. You can hang out with us
in the episode description. And
you can hang out with us there, and that's great. Other than that, other than your new show's still going, but
yep, still pumping out episodes of I'm doing another show called Wizarding World Lorecast with Captain Shanko from the MCU Lorecast, where we are doing deep dive into the lore of Harry Potter and that universe, which is a lot of fun. We just ended our 3-part episode for Magic. We are now going to be starting this week going into the wand lore, which is exciting because I did not realize there was more than the 3 cores that for wands until looking this stuff up. And it's like, oh, there's a lot more. Oh, there's also like 30 types of woods that the wands are made out of. Like, it's insane.
I forget what type of wand I have. I'll have to look that up. But
lots of fun. And then I know you have your new show now too.
Yeah. So if you like hanging out with us, you can't find a podcast where we're together, but you can find a podcast where we're on them. So you can find me on the Assassin's Creed Lorecast, the Dragon Age Lorecast, and the Inheritance Cycle page-by-page podcast. Dragon Age and Assassin's Creed Lorecast are what they say. They are about the lore of those 2 video game series, Assassin's Creed and Dragon Age. The Inheritance Cycle page-by-page is a kind of book club read-through of the Inheritance Cycle or the Aragon books, where we sit and talk about those books and impressions and theorize and just have fun with that. So you can check all of those out. If you join our Discord, you can find links to all of them, but they're all the podcasts, the Wizarding World Lorecast. Those podcasts are all available, Apple, Spotify, everywhere you find podcasts.
Yep. Always fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to it.
Did you hear it?
I heard it.
Yes. It only took a couple weeks.
My life is better now that I have the Wilhelm scream.
Heck yeah. So, now that we're back, we go into the canon of the ARC-170s. So, going back to the Clone Wars, the ARC-170 Starfighter was initially created by Inco/Subpro for the Galactic Republic as a multi-purpose starship. The successor was the clone Z-95 Headhunter. It participated in numerous battles during the Clone Wars, such as the Battle of Malastare, in which it guarded the BTLB Y-wing starfighter bombers armed with experimental electroproton bombs, while some of them strafed the Separatist ground forces. They also participated in the Battle of Camino and the Battle of Solist. ARC-170 starfighters also took part of the Battle of Laura Salu, led by Jedi Master Satin Saci-10 and Adi Gallia and Kit Fisto, where they engaged Vulture droids and droid tri-fighters in space in order to break the blockade to allow Plo Koon and the Wolfpack to rescue Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka Tano, and Wilhuff Tarkin, who were under attack by Osi Sobek and his droid escorts. Honestly, 3 of them you could save. You should not have saved Tarkin. He was a jerk even during the Clone Wars.
Nah.
Like, watching that episode and, like, Anakin helping him escape and Tarkin's complete, like, a-hole the entire time and acts exactly like he is in the Empire, and it's terrifying to see. It's terrible.
I hate him.
I don't know anybody who likes him.
I hate him more than Vader and Palpatine. Maybe not both of them combined, but more than both of them individually.
Yeah, I can second that. He's a terrible person. So later, several Wolfpack ARC-170 starfighters were parked in Wolf's Acclamator class armor assault ship prior to the Wolfpack going on their mission to deliver supplies to the people of Alin. And just after a series of groundquakes rocked the world, though the fighters never took part in the mission. And then the ARC-170 starfighters and BTLB Y-wing bombers also participated in a mission to rescue Adi Gali, who was being held captive by Grievous. The fighters assaulted the dreadnought defenses as so Plo Koon and his rescue team could board the ship to rescue Adi Gallia alongside with C-3PO and R2-D2, who were about to be incinerated to the scrap metal by the Separatists. I don't remember that episode on the top of my head. And then several ARC-170s also participated in the Battle of Umbara, where they were involved in breaking through the Separatist blockade to clear way for Generals Kenobi, Skywalker, and their clone forces to retake the planet. Yeah.
The Battle of Umbara.
And the Umbara troopers are awesome.
Yes, but it's also where we meet the most hated Jedi of all time.
Oh, what's his face with the 4 arms?
Ong Krell.
Yeah, he can burn in places. The most hated, probably, I want to say probably the most hated character in Star Wars at this point. Like, no one likes him. For very good reasons. And then, after seeing the campaign against the supposed Admiral Enigma, who is actually the undercover Jedi Master Quinlan Vos, and as the second battle of Christophsis, ARC-170s played a major part in the Outer Rim sieges during the Battle of Coruscant. Clone Commander Oddball led Clone Flight Squad 7 to protect Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi on their mission to rescue the Supreme Chancellor. And then several participated in the capture of Ketonu Umedia, and following the battle shot down General Plo Koon when Chief Palpatine issued Order 66. Yeah. So a lot of the similarities, a lot of stuff from Legends went into the canon, obviously because a lot of that was from the films.
Right, and that makes sense.
And now we get to post-Clone Wars. When the Clone Wars ended with the Republic's transformation to the Galactic Empire, the ARC-170s naturally became part of the Imperial Navy, which how the clone troopers who flew them became stormtroopers in the Imperial military. As such, in the immediate aftermath of the war, several ARC-170s were used to keep the former Jedi outpost known as the Bright Home under Imperial control as clones sorted through its inventory. Trying to remember. Bright Home was a Outer Rim Jedi station, which I'm pretty sure is from the comics because I've never seen this before.
I'm 90% sure that it's from the comics. I'm actually sure that 90% of this whole post-Clone Wars content
is from comics.
Is from the comic.
More than likely from probably the Darth Vader comics, honestly.
Yeah, and probably Kanan's comics and other ones.
I forgot he had comics.
There's also comics following. There's a lot of comics following in the in-between. But yeah.
And then when Darth Vader arrived at the station, as I just stated, it's probably the Darth Vader comics, he refused to give Imperial access codes to instead cut down the soldiers aboard, resulting in the ARC-170s moving to engage Vader's starship under the orders of one clone pilot. However, Vader quickly outmaneuvered the ARC-170s and destroyed them, leaving the clones aboard the station to assume he was a Jedi. Vader quickly boarded and cut through all the clones who came against him. Makes sense, because he would just wreck everybody in his path if no one gets out of his way. And then ARC-170s continued to see the use in Imperial Navy for at least 5 years after the proclamation of the New Order, as the newer TIE line came in production. Squadrons of ARC-170s were deployed from an older generation Venator-class Star Destroyer to assist Governor Will Huff Tarkin and the Executrix during the campaign of Salent. And then several later ambushed Kanan Jarrus when he tried to return to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant despite Master Kenobi's warning not to. It also served as a predecessor to the T-65B X-Wing Starfighter. And then the Alliance to Restore the Republic also acquired a number of ARC-170s during the Galactic Civil War, retrofitting them to Alliance standards. Shara Bay, Thane Kyrell, Braylon Stram, and Nora Wexley all flew the ARC-170s at some point in the war. And then Donata Security was also known to use Clone Wars era starfighters in its fleet. As of 34 ABY, the ARC-170 V-Wing and the N1 Starfighter were among the fleet of fighters. I love the N1 though. The N1's probably like the new Starfighter. Naboo Starfighter is probably one of my favorites, next to the ARC-170.
Who is the Jedi Master that Starkiller's first asked to hunt down?
General Rom Koda.
Rom Koda. So he has no clone troopers in his regiment.
Correct.
Does he use like clone issued gear then? Like would he have had ARC-170s in his arsenal?
Possibly. I know he didn't have clones in his like detachment because he didn't trust clones. And even like that was even during the Clone Wars, he did not have any clones whatsoever because he did not trust them. And obviously it was a good thing. But I don't know if his soldiers or his fighters actually had clone issued weaponry. I'd imagine they did because it was mass produced to a large scale, but I have no idea.
Well, it would just, since it's not canon,
it doesn't matter.
Because like all of the partisans have clone issued equipment. Like they had the DC-17 blaster rifle. They had
I imagine they probably did, at least for the weapons. Obviously not the clones themselves, but the weapons at least. I imagine they had the same issued stuff because it was all Republic issue at the time. So now we get to the characteristics. The aggressive reconnaissance 170 Starfighter, aka the ARC-170, was a multi-purpose starfighter designed for both intense battle and longer deep space missions. It measured at 12.71 meters in length, contained a hyperdrive, and propelled itself into real space utilizing 2 powerful engine systems. It was piloted by a crew of 3, a pilot, co-pilot, and tail gunner, along with an astromech droid. Long-range scanners and sensors were contained in the vessel's nose. And I'm sorry, it's not a crew of 3, it's a crew of 4. Astromechs matter. It's just me. The astromechs matter.
They do. I don't like to entertain it too much because then the role of droids in
I know.
society becomes problematic.
Yeah, I know. That is a fair point. During battle, the craft's S-foils opened to expose heat sinks in the radiator to help cool the ship, and the 2 main forward medium laser cannons located on the underside of the outer wings were uncommonly large and powerful. Its laser cannons could punch through a capital ship's armor, and its twin blaster cannons provided a rear-firing arc manned by its tail gunner. Furthermore, proton torpedo launchers increased the craft's usefulness in ship-to-ship combat and added its already extensive repertoire and its ability to serve as a bomber. The ARC-170's deflector shows dispersed heat generated by air resistance in the astroperic flight, enabling the craft to reach hypersonic speeds. So, it's a good ship. All in all.
It is a good ship, and I think it's really the kind of perfect ship for the clone trooper because it's designed, just like the clone trooper is designed to be worth 10 battle droids or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Their ARC fighter is worth multiple of the droid starfighters.
Mm-hmm. This is true. And now we go to the behind the scenes. The ARC-170 was named after Art-170, the title of the artwork formed by concept artist Ryan Church that inspired the finalized design. Originally, it was referred to simply as a clone fighter in the script for The Revenge of the Sith. And the HUD scene in Oddball's ARC-170 cockpit during the Battle of Coruscant had the same targeting display as Luke Skywalker's X-Wing in A New Hope. They just reused the same targeting system stuff. It was easy for filmmaking, just reusing props. The joint development of the ARC-170 by Encom and Subpro Corporation seemed to contradict a HoloNet news report that claims the companies served their partnership shortly after the onset of the Clone Wars. This issue was possibly be retconned by the fact that most of the design for the ship took place before the split. Even so, it was released as an Encom Subpro design, and it is extremely unusual for design credit to continue to be shared between companies who have broken off relations.
Weird.
Yeah. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, the ARC-170 fighter is considered a medium starfighter, an equivalent to the T-65 X-Wing starfighter. The game also only allows 1 individual to board it rather than 3 to fill all 3 positions, which was a bummer. It should allow 3 people to completely have a squad and just annihilate everything.
Yeah, but so really, if we really, really think about it, the gunship in the Clone Wars seats like 6, because you've got... No, so you've got pilot, you've got 2 gunners, you've got the back gunner, and then 2 passengers.
Okay, yeah.
The both, depending on the class, the bombers sometimes have 2 pilots, and obviously the interceptors, Jedi Starfighters, A-Wings have only room for 1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But it's interesting to me because you would have the gunner position, but who wants to ride as a co-pilot? Like, who has ever ridden as a passenger in the gunship?
Fair point. That's a fair point. At least have a tail gunner in the ARC-170 in Battlefront 2.
Mm-hmm.
At least you're shooting.
But then no one would use the bomber.
Good point. That is true. No one would use a bomber. In Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the visual directory, the Starfighter was said to have a projectile cannon above the wing-mounted laser cannons, which is obviously not a thing. In 2005, LEGO released the ARC-170 set, which included 3 clone pilots, which oddly had V-Wing pilot uniforms. This was due to technical limitations, however. The R4D5, a strange thing about the set was that it only had 1 rear laser cannon. LEGO released another ARC-170 in 2010, which was more accurate in depicting the fighter and pilots, and includes 1 standard clone pilot, Captain Jag, Kit Fisto, and R4P44. An Episode 3 collector set was released in 2005, in which the set had an ARC-170, a droid, Tri-Fighter, a Buzz Droid, 3 clone pilots, R4D5, and an Episode 3 LEGO poster and a CD-ROM from the LEGO vaults. LEGO's too expensive.
I know.
That's
I
all
want
I'm
it
saying
all.
on that.
I
know, they're so cool, but like, God, they're so expensive. Yes, Annika, I agree on that, by the way. Yes, the Kit Fisto minifigs, any minifigs, if you can find a minifig, get the minifigs. They are worth so much. It is ridiculous. In the Clone War episode, the Xylo Beast, the ARC-170 squadron exploring the Y-Wings that dropped the electroproton bomb during the course of the episode had the same engine nose as the X-Wings in the original trilogy. This is probably implemented to highlight the ARC-170 is the precursor to the X-Wing. And then in 2009, an Imperial variant of the ship was first depicted visually as a toy for Hasbro Inc.'s Star Wars: The Clone Wars toy range. And that is it for behind the scenes.
Yeah, we've got a lot of toys because I'll tell you, post Return of the Jedi, George Lucas was all about those toys.
They got so many, all his profit was from toys. The movies had a lot, but from the end of Return of the Jedi all the way up to Phantom Menace, he was making so much money on just toy sales, on giving out those rights for toys and getting the profit from the profit. It's insane.
And you can really think about the difference. You should go into some kind of comic book store or used toy store or something like that, and just go find their Star Wars section and see all of the random characters who have action figures, and then compare that. Go try to find a Rey action figure.
It's hard.
Yes, and so that's the difference here, is that they're not making toys anymore. There are hardly any Rise of Skywalker toys.
Anything sequel related, you're really not going to find at the moment. Right now, because I work in retail, I know the collectible market because I get all that stuff in my store that I work at. It's all the Star Wars Black Series stuff they have coming out right now. It's mainly Mandalorian, Book of Boba, Andor is getting some new figures. It's all the recent stuff, but even when Rise of Skywalker and the sequel series was out and new, there was not a lot of toy sales. There was a lot, not a whole, at least after Force Awakens. After Force Awakens, it kind of dipped a little bit, and then really after Last Jedi, it just almost stopped completely. It was just hard to find any sequel characters.
So in the Black Series, there's a Dark Ray Black Series.
Yes, they did. They have done other the most recent Ray was Dark Side Ray, but that's only in a vision that we get in Rise of Skywalker. Now it's the coolest figure for Ray. Not gonna lie, but
they do not have yellow lightsaber Ray in the Black Series.
No. Even though like her saber, like the one she makes, is probably one of the most unique designed hilts. I do like her hilt. I can't deny that. Her hilt's pretty cool. But that's all I will say.
But that's interesting. But yeah, toys are everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Got that right. But that is all what we got for this week. Anything else?
Yeah. No. Well, thank you all. Thank you, chat, for hanging out and chatting with us. Thank you all for listening to the Holocron Histories podcast. We will see you next week.
And may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWHoloHistories and contact us at holocronhistories@gmail.com.